Coming to you live from the
gift wrapping room
of the Ditch Diggers Manor. It is the Ditch Diggers, Lafferty and Ursula Vernon.
Ditch Diggers appear and ain't no wannabes here with some not so nice advice for your writing career. To be clear, no punches will be pulled, but the punch may be spiked how they like before they get on the mic. To my left we got the mighty Lafferty, and if I piss her off, believe me, she'll come after me. And her co-host Ursula Vernon on the right, yeah, she's burning to recite a slime mold speech tonight. So settle in, folks, buckle in and boot up. Time to meddle in a way to make your writer shut up. It's hard work, but the perk is that it's fun and exciting. Facebook will still be there when you're done writing. Ditch Diggers! Ditch Diggers!
Hi! It's been a long time. Long time for me, long time for you, Ursula. Long time. Just really, yeah.
There's been a lot going on.
Yes, there has been quite a bit going on. I am Lafferty, and this is Ditch Diggers, here with my co-host Ursula Vernon. We're here to tell you about building a writing career and not being precious about it if you actually want to make it a career. So
yes, the bit that comes after the bit when you sell the book.
Oh, thank you for the follow. Yeah, so we've been to Scotland, and that was neat. And I think we're mainly going to talk about that here, because I don't... Is there stuff to be mad about? I'm not keeping up.
There's so much to be mad about in the world. I think we can probably go one episode without having to get mad.
I was more thinking of, like right now.
Oh, probably, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I know what it is. It's SIFWA, but there's still not a lot of data out about that. But we can mention that in our...
Is that a mad thing, or is that just a thing?
I was more talking about newsworthy things to talk about, and it usually involves being angry about something, so I just jumped to that.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I'm not mad at SIFWA. I worry for them.
Yeah.
But yes.
Anyway, let's start with how we're doing. I'm fine. I did not get COVID from Worldcon, and then I came back and comforted a friend who then tested positive for COVID. So I think I'm done. I've passed the Scottish COVID gauntlet, and now I'm hoping to... I'm still feeling fine. I'm still testing negative, but hoping I did not get it from my friend. And I'm working on a novel edit, and I'm working on my interactive fiction class, which should be done in about a month. How about you, Ursula? What's the world like?
I, too, did not get COVID in Scotland. I honestly kind of expected to, with all the people who were testing positive, some of whom I had been hanging out with. And then I got snot and whatnot. I was like, oh, God, it's the COVID. I have failed.
Here it goes.
And I kept testing, and I am negative. It's genuinely head cold, which is weird because we all forget that other diseases exist.
Especially when you're like hugging people who then test positive.
Right. It's read the room, other diseases, as someone said online. So yes, I got an actual head cold, and
wow.
It's sort of novel. I don't enjoy it.
But
I'm fine. Just, the stage where you blow your nose and horrible things happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we are both preparing, assuming Mur continues to test negative, to head off to another con, very quickly.
Yeah, we're going to be going to Bubonicon this weekend. Every person I tell that to starts making a joke about the title, the name of the con, and doesn't actually ask or acknowledge that it's actually a thing that I'm doing. So, yes, it is called Bubonicon.
It's a funny name. It's supposed to be a funny name.
I know.
It's in New Mexico, which the rodents there are one of the places that are a reservoir of the Black Death in the United States.
I question the word reservoir, but I'm betting you're using it scientifically.
Yeah.
So do they all think if we need the Black Plague, we go to Albuquerque and just dip into the rat population?
Ground squirrel, I believe, but yes.
Oh, sorry. We're being politically correct.
No. It wasn't politically correct. There might be in rats too. I just know that they're in the ground squirrels. Also, prairie dogs, incidentally, carry the plague.
So should we not? Okay, so
don't cuddle prairie dogs.
Don't cuddle prairie dogs.
There was a thing for a little bit where there was a phase where people were like trying to get them as an exotic pet, and then first of all, they're bitey. Yeah. And they're not really into that. And secondly, you can get the plague. So don't do that. Don't get a pet prairie dog. It was someone in Cary, actually, who I had a business.
Here? Cary?
Yeah. Yeah, no, at the one Garden Solutions or whatever place, big cage with like 3 prairie dogs just hanging out. And I'm like, that's not a good idea. And the staff were like, yeah, we hit them. So.
Okay. I forgot why we went there. But, Bubonicon.
I've forgotten. Bubonicon, yes. Okay,
yes. Yes, Bubonicon. I will be one of the guests of honor with TJ Klune, and Ursula and her husband Kevin are going to be the Toastmasters.
Yep. This is our 4th time coming out to Bubonicon. And this is the last time that they can finagle in any way to get us out as a guest. They had me out as the artist. They had me out as the writer. They had me out as the Toastmaster. Now they're like, we can't repeat guests, but we can technically have you and Kevin both as the Toastmaster, and that's new. Now they're out of solutions, so we're moving to New Mexico.
Yeah. You do know you can just go to the con as a writer, right? You could even go as a writer / artist.
I do so little art these days, but
yeah, that's what the little people do. I know.
No, it's not a little people thing. It's Ursula burned herself out doing children's books. Yeah. You remember those days when I was like, you were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm drawing 300 dragons.
No more dragons, no more hamsters.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember those days. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But yes, Kevin and I are planning to move to New Mexico this fall. And so after Bubonicon, we are taking a week to drive around the state. And since housing is cheaper there than it is here, and we both work at home, we are just like looking at places so we can be like, I could live here and I don't want to live here.
Yeah, and I'll be in North Carolina weeping loudly. Funny thing here is that we have finally installed solar power on our house. Our electric bill last month was 0.
Nice.
We're not 100% covered, but I think we get offset because we give power to the grid, and so that whatever we take from the grid gets offset by that, blah, blah, blah. And so it's like we just spent the money to do that, and now we have the nice home without an electric bill. I guess now's not the time to just up and move. It seems like a bad use of money.
Doesn't your husband have like a job here?
Sure, but his company is many, many places.
Oh, well, if you decide you want to move to New Mexico, like there's an assload of science fiction writers and fantasy writers there. So if in the course of your career you are a sci-fi or fantasy writer, apparently at some point in digging that ditch, you want to move to New Mexico. I don't know why, but everyone else has.
Yeah.
Yes.
Diana Rowland did. And she's going to be at Bubonicon. I can't wait to see her.
Yep. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Lots and lots of names. I was talking to Arcady Martin of A Memory Called Empire. And she was like, wait, New Mexico? Here, let me tell you all the things. I worked for the thing. And she might be living in Colorado. I don't know where she's living. But anyway, she was like, yes, I know New Mexico. Do not move here, here, or here. We're like, oh, really? We were kind of looking at Elephant Butte. She's like, nope, horrible. MAGA Central. All of your neighbors will be like, waving guns and Trump flags. I'm like, that is a thing I do not wish.
We have Cypher of Tyr in chat saying, hello, Ursula. Great to meet you at Worldcon finally. We both got to meet Cypher at Worldcon, and it was a great, great thing. I've been a fan of Cypher and on her stream team for a couple of years, and she was one of the special guests of honor for the D&D 50th anniversary thing going on at Worldcon. So,
cool.
Good. Nightbot. Oh, the kids are asleep, did it. Thank you. Kids are asleep. I don't have an automated shout out for Cypher. I'm sorry, Cypher, but yay. Yes, follow Cypher. A lot of Baldur's Gate streams recently, and it's so much fun. Actually, I'm curious about where you stand with this, Ursula. In the world of like interactive writing, we hung out with Sam Bayart, who is the voice for Karlach at Worldcon, and they told...
we? I thought you did. Did I? I don't
know.
did.
I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
Well, Cypher and I did. Sorry, I think that might have been the we I was saying. But anyway, they told Cypher a very specific thing to do to unlock a specific dialogue that's amazing, and I'm like, I don't know if anybody would think to just do that. And I wonder about the hiding of these Easter eggs of, essentially you play as Karlach, you can play as one of the origin characters, and after the Nautiloid crashes, you don't go see Shadowheart, but you go to camp. And I'm not going to tell you anymore, because you got to see it yourself. It doesn't take that long to set that up, or you can probably find it on YouTube. But it is an amazing, amazing thing, and you have to go through so many hoops to get it. Because who doesn't go see Shadowheart right after you crash? She's right there. So when it comes to making stuff like that, you've done some interactive work. Did you try to hide things, and were you like giddy about it, or did you think no one will ever find this?
The interactive work I was doing was all text-based, so it was... there were narrower channels of what you could do than the more open world stuff. But I act on the assumption that if there is any sequence of events, someone will find it. And so I am all for those things. There were a couple that I worked out even in my long ago, now sadly defunct Story Nexus game, Cryptic Stitching, where if you were if you had talked to one character and then you had chosen to be a shaman and you had gone back to a place that you should have been done with and you hung out long enough and then selected one set of things, you wound up building a sandcastle with one of the shamans who was the spirits told me they wanted a sandcastle. And it was very hard to trigger, but it's... There's I feel that there should always you should just assume someone will try everything, and sometimes game devs are humans just like the rest of us, and we were both married to one at one point. I was one at one point. I don't remember if you were one at one point, but they're humans, and they sometimes do things just to amuse themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to be lucky enough to have a conversation with one of the writers on Baldur's Gate 3,
mm-hmm.
and I looked at her and I said, "Okay, did you put fucking the Mind Flayer in just because someone was going to ask?" And she was like, she had written that bit. And she was like, no, actually, the lead, programmer, I was like, we got this, this, and this. And he was joking, but I didn't realize it, just said, just write me a scene where you fuck the Mind Flayer. I don't care. I have to go take this call. So I was in his office trying desperately to write that scene he had just told me to write and then I handed it and he was like, oh my God, you actually did it. Yes. So, yeah.
Yep. Small spoiler. That is a thing you can do in Baldur's Gate 3, and I have done it. And then when you're done, this portal opens behind you and like 3 of your other friends are there, like staring down at you with this look of horror and disgust on their faces. And the Mind Flayer's like, nah, I'll alter their memories. No big deal.
I missed that bit.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
I never did it. That was the first thing she asked, like, did you do it? And I was like, no, but I had a friend who did.
Was I that friend?
Yeah, of course you were that
yes!
friend,
I'm the friend that fucked the Mind Flayer. Yes! I'm so proud.
You should be.
Yeah, I know.
I was the friend who just kept getting turned into a wheel of cheese because I thought it was funny.
Yes. But we're supposed to be talking about ditch diggers. Ditch digging.
Yes. We have to talk about writing books. And anyway, the thing I'm supposed to be working on, because we never even got through that bit, was I have so many books to do edits on. Like, The problem is that a couple of companies in the UK licensed some of my self-pub books, which is great. I get money. More money happens. They sell again. That reactivates the backlist, basically, because when a bigger publishing house buys them, there's advertising and store placement, and then people buy them and are like, oh my God, I need everything that this writer has written. Remember, the biggest advertising for your backlist is your front list. So it's great, but also they copy edited and localized, since they're in the UK, like 4 books. And they're like, can we have your approval or not by September 9th? And I'm like, that. And when I said yes, that was not nearly as far away, or that was not nearly as close as it is now. So I have to frantically copy edit a whole bunch of things. And also I'm supposed to be finishing off a book for 47 North. And also I have been handed edits on another book for Tor. And so yes, there's a lot. And what I really want to be writing is the next Paladin romance, but we'll see when that happens.
You're just shaking all your deals, all your contracts in my face, all your deadlines.
No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to express it.
I know. I'm in the position where I'm out of contract and we're trying to sell something new. So I'm trying not to fuss about that, but it is just jiggers, which is when we fuss about things like that.
No, that is, we have all been there, and that is a very unsettling place to be. Am I selling something, or have I just become unemployed? What am I doing? Yeah.
And I am doing another round of edits on my novel, which we had a excellent. Ursula let me tag along and be Kevin on one of your meetings with an editor at Worldcon, and so I went and I got the fancy drinks, and we went to a very fancy drink thing.
Explain how if you are their editors will come to cons. So my Worldcon and World Fantasy are the 2 big ones where editors in our branch come to, and people set up meetings with them. And usually, if you're an author with their company, that means the editor takes you to brunch or something. My agent set it all up because she was coming to Worldcon for the first time. And so I did a lot more this time than I normally do, because normally I meet no one. I hang out at the bar or whatnot and with friends. But my agent is like, you are meeting all of the editors that you work with in the UK. And also, your editor from Tor is there and wants to buy dinner. And so I had a tight schedule. It was a little unsettling. But anyway, usually what happens is they take you to brunch or something like that. And then there is drinking. If you are a non-drinker, it is okay. You can just say that. But in this case, the editor set up a meeting at this really confusing bar.
Confusing. I'm sorry, I did not expect that adjective. Go on.
No. I brought Mer along because I felt like it wasn't really a networking event so much when you already know the editor and they've already bought your stuff, but it's good to reaffirm those bonds with people and whatnot, so they can put a brain to a face or whatever, however that works. And so I was like, Mer, come along, because if that might have been networking, because now the editor knows who you are and in person and whatnot. So but they had fancy drinks, with dry ice and levitation and shit.
The bar was specifically super fancy because of its drinks. I don't think you could go there and get a martini, or if you did, they would do something really weird to the martini. It would, Ursula got a drink with a disc of sugar, a hard disc of sugar on the top.
Clear, and you had to break and then they gave you a
creme
spoon
brulee
to break. Yeah, to break the thing, where it was break glass in case of drink or something like that.
Yeah.
And you got
I didn't get anything visually fancy. I got like a gin thing that was green and it tasted good. And then I got the one that comes with the flask because I wanted the flask. And it was a gin drink and the drink was good. But I'm just like, flask. I want the flask. I gotta have the flask. So, but the other two drinks that the editor and Ursula's agent had, very fancy drinks. Your agent had one that levitated. They had to make sure nobody had a pacemaker at the table because they were using a heavy magnet. And what was the dry ice when your editor got?
It came in like a beaker with dry ice and what looked like herbs in it, and you had to like pour the thing over a filter. And it was something. And then just the whole thing was the sort of place that I think you almost have to have a meeting like that at, because I would never go there normally. That is like way too fancy and weird for me. I just want a mojito.
Yeah, and it's the kind of place that it was a Friday, I believe, but it was like early Friday afternoon or mid Friday afternoon. And you walk in and suddenly it's Friday night and everybody is hotter than you. And it's like, do these people have jobs? I mean, it wasn't that busy, but it was just very, very strange. And I brought this up for a reason, and now I forgot what it was.
You said something that I let you tag along to a thing.
The edits.
Yeah.
The editor involved actually made me feel better because for Station Eternity, I had to do 2 really big edit passes. And Chaos Terminal only had 1, and now with Infinite Archive, I'm having to do at least 2. And I'm just feeling like everybody else turns in relatively clean drafts and I'm garbage. And your editor told me something about somebody who did like 6 edits.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, it's not just me. Also, I hope I'm never in that situation. But I'm not up to 6 yet, so I'm just trying to, and today was a lot of like getting my head on straight with just getting back into the swing of things. Because last week I was very tired, and I don't even remember last week. I didn't even have an excuse about travel. I just or illness. I think I was sitting around waiting for COVID to hit, and it didn't. Not that I was
very proud of myself. I took last week off.
Very smart.
But I never do that. I actually had to, my husband Kevin runs a podcast called Productivity Alchemy. And I went in and I was like, I require absolution from the productivity pope that it is okay to take it off. And he's like, you have a cold, you did international travel, you've been busy all weekend, and yes, go forth and take a sick day. Take 2 sick days. Take the rest of the week off. And then I felt better. But I have you and I both have the Protestant work ethic problem of, if I am not productive and working, what is my worth as a human being? Yeah. This does not apply to other people. Other people are allowed to have worth as human beings, not related to their productivity.
Practice self-care.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
it's I did take, I guess, a little bit of time to recover, and I was not sick though. And now I'm just hoping I remain unsick. But
you weren't sick, but you did do the massive travel from east to west and back again, and also you worked all weekend and didn't take it off. So.
That's true. Cons are work.
Very much so.
Oh, I had a massive migraine. That's what happened. Okay.
You were sick. See? Absolutely justified.
Absolutely.
We are completely broken people that we have to come up with reasons that our leisure time is justified.
Yeah. IntelliGame says, the good old Protestant work ethic running us into the ground. Can I get a shout out for IntelliGame? IntelliGame, one of those streamers who... Thank you. One of the streamers whose name is exactly what the stream is. Like, you want to have an intelligent conversation about games? Go watch IntelliGame. He's awesome.
Do you ever talk about Magic the Gathering? Because my husband got me back into it, and I'm so mad.
That's a good question. I've not seen him do tabletop stuff, but I don't know. Tell us, Intelligame, do you do Magic the Gathering? Because Ursula's mad.
Sorry to completely derail from digging ditches.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Kids are asleep yelling Bloomborough. Is this something I should know?
Yes, Bloomborough is the latest expansion for Magic the Gathering, and it is adorable. It is all cute little animals whose world is being invaded by massive, scary animals, and so you have little mice with swords. And I believe the Mouse Guard guy did a lot of work on it.
Right.
And it is freaking adorable. And I have made some very lethal decks with frogs.
This surprises me not at all. Kids Are Asleep, please put a link to your story in the chat, and we'll get that into the show notes as well. The Kids Are Asleep, Valerie Valdez wrote the story for Bloomborough.
Oh!
Yes.
And is here.
And she's here, yeah.
Wow, thank you. You did good work. I am enjoying it enormously. Also, my husband's Igra, Eater of All deck is brutal, but God, that's a great card.
But yeah, Intelligame says, there's so much magic out there, I might get into it. Okay, I guess he hasn't gotten into it yet.
Oh, no, don't. Save yourself. Run. No, please do not do it because I said anything. No. You need that money to live.
Kids Are Asleep clarifies, not the cards, but they commissioned a story for her to write. So like a novella or a novelette, something is. Oh,
yes. I am deeply envious. That is exactly the sort of media property I would write for in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. No one ever asks, but that's okay. Hang on, I have to let the dog out. Keep talking, I can hear you.
Sure. It's funny, Ursula just reminded me I did not ask her about one of her meetings, and I shouldn't ask now because we're live on the internet. I gotta remind myself to ask you how that meeting went, that thing. But
they didn't have anything for me right now. They said they were about a year out. They were just making contacts. And this is sometimes random companies will be like, we would like to talk to you.
So I could have crashed.
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck.
You just show up, and it is not, there is no business done. It is just, you meet each other and go, you're cool. I seem like I could work with you, or you're interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever.
Thank you for the free drink. Goodbye.
Yes. This is networking and networkingness.
Well, let's talk about networking.
Okay.
I think, for one thing, I do want to reiterate what Ursula said. I think a lot of non-drinkers are intimidated by the name BarCon or the knowledge that lots of people are getting together and drinking and networking. That might leave you out. I could be wrong. I am not the non-drinker, but I have never seen a non-drinker get crap for not drinking. It's like John Scalzi famously does not drink. And he's
always at the bar with people with whatever horrible thing it is he drinks. Coke Zero, yes. That's not that horrible. But yeah.
Yeah, and so he so really you do not need to drink to do BarCon, but it is prime networking area. I don't know if it was the pandemic or what, but I felt awkward networking this time. Like I had a sit down with a person I used to work with who, I may work with in the future, but we did not get to that. We just kind of sat down and talked. And I'm like, am I supposed to bring something up? Am I supposed to talk about what I'm working on? Am I supposed to talk about how I'm out of contract? Or am I just supposed to sit here and be cool? Which I'm not being cool because I'm sitting here thinking about this incessantly.
I think what you're supposed to do, I have no idea what you're supposed to do. I do what I do, but I am, it was the only reason I know this is networking is because years ago you said to me, Ursula, this is networking. You are, I said, I don't know how to network. What does it even involve? And you were like, you are networking at this exact moment. Networking is occurring. I think we were at a party or something.
Yeah.
But networking is just, you go, you hang out, you meet people, you talk to them, you like each other, or you don't. And they just remember that you exist.
Yeah.
And later on,
Yeah, remembering someone exists, you don't think how important that would be. But I remember, so I got my start doing role-playing games. And I did mainly worked with White Wolf. I did some, contract stuff for Mage and Vampire. And then I did some contract work on the Warcraft book. And then the World of Warcraft book, if that tells you how long ago it was. And so I was working pretty steadily. It did not make money. I was paid 2 cents a word, and I was paid after publication. So it was not lucrative, but it gave me a lot of experience that I kind of value. I learned that one should not use the word chode on edit notes. But the thing was, I stopped. And I can't remember why. It might have been I was trying
to put... making 2 cents a word?
Well, no. It was, yeah, possibly 2 cents a word. But it was also, I think I was just focusing on something else. Like, I wasn't getting any other writing jobs. But anyway, I stepped away for a little while. And like a year or two later, I contacted my author, my editor. And I'm like, hey, don't suppose you have any World of Warcraft work for me? And he said, well, I would like to hire people who play the game. And I'm like, what the fuck? I play the game. I wrote for you. And I had gone out of his memory. I did not reminded him I was there. And I don't even remember where we went after that. I think I said, yes, I do play. And I have been playing, and I think he still said he didn't have anything for me, or he lied. But it was really just, I just remembered that and realizing, yeah, reminding people you exist is a thing in networking, which you can just do by saying hi.
Yeah, and sometimes you will be there and, you run into an editor and they look at you blankly and then are like, oh my God, wait, I was going to send you an invite. Do you have any stories about this? I have an anthology I'm trying to fill. That's happened to me like twice.
Yeah.
And it's, that is the sort of thing you will get from being present in person, but it must be said, you have to have something of a presence already for that to work. It's, you can't go in, I could not have gone in 10 years ago and had that experience, because no one would know who I was.
Right.
Whereas if you show up and people know who you are, yeah.
To start out, though, just meeting people, asking about their work, saying you enjoy either the author's work or the editor, know who they've published and say you've enjoyed that work. They love that. And, yeah, and then you're just like that person who's wants to be a writer or is submitting right now, and they were nice. And then you can say when you submit, hey, we met at this con. We chatted about hockey. I don't know. And, so you won't get a offer for a project right away. And if you do, please tell me and tell me what you did. But, that just gets to know people. This is like a slow drip thing, networking is. And it sucks because when you look back on how long it's taken me to network all as much as I have, it's I don't want to tell somebody, so in 10 years you'll be golden. But you got to start somewhere. And the thing about passing time that blew my mind once was, well, those 10 years are going to pass either way. So you might as well do the thing to get you to the point where you're doing stuff.
And we will point out, this is also very hard if you're an introvert. Like, I am not a person inherently who goes to parties. I have gotten good at it because it kept happening, but it is not like, I am not like, yay, I'm going to take a weekend and go hang out at the bar with total strangers. That is not a thing that I would have ever enjoyed doing. That over the years, as this goes on, you meet people and you know people, and then it's not like I am going to a bar to network and further my career. It's, hey, so-and-so, I'm at the bar, come hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it is a much more organic and less calculated process than maybe it sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, and sometimes, things just happen. I had always admired Ellen Datlow's books, and we were both guests at the same convention and wound up hanging out at the bar a lot. And that was great. And we had a lovely discussion, and then went to dinner, and that was also great. And I'm not saying that we're best friends and she'd let me crash on her couch, but she's like, yes, let me send you the thing. I had the thing. I will send you a thing once I get out from under this pile of other things.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just, also being online does bleed over to this.
Yeah.
Like there were the first Worldcon in London I did, I was like, I know nobody. And like a lot of people who are like, I know you from Twitter.
I remember you hanging out with Tor editors in 2013.
Was London in 2013?
Yes.
Jesus. Yeah.
But maybe they knew you from Twitter.
Because I knew them online.
Yeah.
I didn't know why they wanted to hang out because, I just happened to know them online. They're like, let's hang out. And so we did, and we chatted, and it's not like they offered me a book deal or something.
Right.
But we hung out, and then, years later, they did offer me a book deal as it happened. But,
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. IntelliGame says, I struggle with that networking and feeling of being unknown is just a lot to try and overcome. And Jasmine says, networking, I hope, gets easier the more you do it.
It does. Very much so.
The thing is, this is why I say make a plan. Because, even if you have to, look around the bar and see who's there and then go off by yourself and write something down in a notebook, you could be like, I want to talk to this person and I don't know how. So people love to talk about themselves. So all you have to do is go up and say, hi, I loved your latest book, or your latest book that you put out with this author, or that author you represent. What's next? Or
the audio book that you recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you did a great job. I'm only saying that because I saw Mary Robinette Cole, and the bar was like, oh my God. And she was like, let me tell you how much I love your books. I'm like, let me tell you how much I love the job you did on the audiobook. And and we gushed at each other. This is eventually what happens, is that it gets much easier over time because you know the people. And then networking becomes not, I am meeting people, but I am meeting my friends, and my friends may introduce me to other people.
Yeah. IntelliGame asks a very good question. Any thoughts on non-Twitter presence for making yourselves known? I know Twitter is kind of the central hub, but also that particular dumpster fire. Yes. I am
off Twitter completely now.
Yeah, I haven't used it at all. And it's sad because I had 14,000 followers, and that was my largest.
I had 60.
I know. That was my largest, my largest audience, and I'm still not sure, but I think really, if you're networking, it's kind of like, it doesn't matter how large your reach is, it matters how pinpointed your reach is. I mean, if you just know me or Ursula, and you could come up to us at a bar, you could say, hey, I'd really like to meet that editor. I'd be like, sure, let's go meet the editor. And I can introduce you. This is something you can do by a little bit more pinpoint networking than, knowing you have thousands and thousands of followers. But losing that megaphone, I believe, yes, that sucked a lot. But
it really did.
I really can't.
Yeah, I don't know if there is I don't think anything has risen to take its place.
Blue Sky is the closest.
Blue Sky is what I'm on all the time now. I think Threads maybe, but I literally do not know where the editors are or whoever
well, you've got enough. Why don't you ask them?
Oh, I guess I could do that.
Yeah, you could.
All right, I'll shoot an email next time and be like, where are y'all hanging out these days?
Yeah.
And maybe they aren't, some people aren't that into social media. Some of them are Instagram and just posting pictures of their cats.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a definite, the ecosystem has suffered the loss of a keystone species, and we are still shaking out who goes extinct.
Yeah. Yeah. Maldarian says, with regards to networking, I sort of treat it the way thrill seekers and adrenaline junkies look at parachuting. Sometimes you just have to jump out of a plane. That is absolutely true. And also, because I have a lot of rejection sensitivity issues, again, you don't know what other people are dealing with. And you may get your nerve up to go talk to somebody, and they may bluntly shoot you down because they're dealing with something else. I won't say who, but I was really excited. This is like several years ago. I was really excited to meet an author. We talked online, and I'm like, I'm going to be at that con. I'm going to go be brave and meet that author. And I went up and introduced myself, and he looked me in the face and said that he was having a crisis because his spouse could not get the food she needed, and he left. And I'm like, okay, that's legit. And, it wasn't about me. It definitely wasn't about me. But it was like a splash of cold water. But I survived. And we still talk now. But it's like, yeah, it's scary putting yourself out there. And I'm not going to lie and say it's going to be, roses and daffodils every time. But, you'll live.
And the other thing is, I will point out that you don't necessarily have to go to cons and network. If it terrifies you and you're bad at it, it will not, this is not a death knell for your career. Neil Stephenson is famously a hermit and has written some brilliant books and has ended fewer brilliant books. Look, I'm sorry. The man was given a finite amount of endings in his life. He used them up in Zodiac, and now the books just kind of stop. Yeah.
I can say
that because he's a hermit and doesn't watch this on social media.
Yeah. I'm going to do that thing that I find really difficult and disagree with you and say, I hate to say it because I know it's not what the introverts want to hear, but I think you kind of have to do it because
I thought you meant about Neil Stephenson's endings.
No, you're absolutely right about that. I'm more thinking of the fact that he was already established before any of this social media stuff happened. I remember China Mieville saying he thinks he's the last author who was able to build a career before you had to think about marketing yourself online.
But we're talking about online here. Like, you do have to be online to a large extent these days, but you do not have to go in person to a con and hang out. Yeah, okay. It is not a death knell for your career. You can make up for it in many ways, like being charming on whatever social media network people are on.
You're right. I was all proud of myself for being brave and disagreeing.
No, you should be proud of yourself for being brave and disagreeing. You are right that you cannot be a hermit anymore.
Yeah.
But or rather, you can be a hermit, but you have to be a hermit with an internet connection.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. We got more discussion. Jasmine's old school and uses Facebook and Instagram. Space Valkyries here. Everyone should follow Space Valkyries.
Hi, Space Valkyrie.
TikTok, Instagram definitely became the big ones, which is not great for me as I struggle with video format. I know you struggle.
You and me both.
I know you struggle, Space Valkyries, but you do a good job. So it's I can't tell you that, it's fine because you do a good job, because I know internally you're struggling because it's scary. But I just want to say that what you do produce is good. I've enjoyed it. I've thought wow, the lighting and, you look cute. And how'd you do that? It all sounds good, it looks good, and you're entertaining. And those are the three things you need. Let's see. I'm a
But
rebel
yeah.
and post groups of pics on Instagram. Jasmine, that's hardcore. Wow.
Fight the power, man.
Yes. Yes, I am finding it interesting how Instagram is more reels and less actual pictures, which makes me worry about my own, because I struggle taking pictures, so I even struggle more with the
I just post pictures of bugs.
yes.
So, like, if no one would know I was a writer from my Instagram.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of bugs, but it's not a good segue because you talked about fucking sea cucumbers. But show everybody your Hugo, Ursula.
Okay, hang on a sec.
We probably should have led with that. Ursula won best novella. Novella, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Best novella, Hugo, at Worldcon, and her speech was about sea cucumbers, and she got to go onto the stage in front of everybody in science fiction and make her speech mentioning butt teeth. Nice.
Sea cucumbers do have butt teeth, yes.
I know. You got to say butt teeth in front of the rising stars of science fiction. Butt teeth. Yep.
Thank you, everyone who voted, and
it's pretty.
Butt teeth.
Thank you, everyone who voted, and butt teeth. Yep. Yeah, Ursula's speeches are always amazing. I'm thinking some people may not even read her stuff. They just vote for her in hopes that she'll get on stage and tell them something interesting.
Well, I don't know if you can hear me when I'm all the way over here, but the thing is, by the time you get to me, or my categories in a Hugo ceremony, there are already, someone has cried, everyone has thanked people, someone has mentioned whatever political thing is big, possibly more than one person.
All that happened.
There have been heartfelt, someone's been angry, it's...
Oh, yeah.
By the time you get to me, like, we have run the gamut, and people are getting a little not burnt, but...
ready for the free wine at the after party.
Yeah, and so I am a palate cleanser. Like, I'm funny. You learn weird. It's completely different than what you're listening to, and then the next people I feel land harder because it's like in a horror movie. You can ratchet up the tension as much as you want, but you have to like see the cat, and the scary music has to stop so that the next thing is actually scary. I am seeing the cat and the scary music stopping.
Okay, so this is our next craft book, Seeing the Cat, instead of Saving the Cat.
Yes, a book I've never read.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Is it good?
I like the...
Isn't it more about screenplays?
Yeah, it is more about screenplays, but another writer has written one about the novel, and it works for me. I know some people don't like it because they say it's formulaic, but... I'm of the opinion that there is a basic recipe for cake and a basic plan for a building, and you can do all sorts of amazing things within those parameters, but the parameters are kind of important. And so I appreciate the view of fiction that says, let's follow this parameters stuff. These parameters.
And there's also something to be said about having to know what the rules are before you start breaking them.
Yeah.
And being, it is good to do at least one thing within the established formula, just to be like, okay, I understand how this works and why it's here, instead of immediately jumping to, like, if you get a recipe, you follow the recipe the first time.
Yeah.
After that, you can change as much as you want. But if you follow the recipe the first time, you get the recipe. Otherwise, sometimes you wind up with like the people leaving comments going, I don't really eat this, so I substituted soy for flour, and I didn't have this in the house, so I used capers instead of cinnamon. It was terrible, 2 out of 10. It's like, what? You didn't, what the hell?
Yeah. This was terrible. It wasn't sweet enough. I cut the sugar in half.
Yeah. I expected it to be fluffier. You use a block of tofu. Yeah.
In place of eggs, yeah. Let's see. Lemonly Artistry says, nothing is helping me wrap my head around long-form fiction. I think it's my flavor of the tism. I can't seem to write more than 5,000 words, currently using the Kindle Vella platform to use its episodic nature, and it is, at the very least, fun. I don't know about the Kindle Vella platform. It sounds like a episodic Kindle release thing?
It's how you do a serial.
Oh, okay.
On Amazon.
Yeah.
And if you found something that works for you, that's great.
Yeah.
Do that. Like, there isn't a thing you are supposed to be doing. If that is working, then more power to you.
Yeah. On a broader note, if you're having trouble thinking like of large plots, first, fan fiction is totally legit. It's like fan fiction gives you training wheels to try out things that you're kind of afraid to. I mean, if you're worried about character stuff, then you can...
I'd say it's less training wheels and more like a net.
Okay.
Because training wheels implies that graduating to published fiction isn't, or whatever, is inherently more mature. And I think that that fan fiction is very mature on its own, and in many, well, often very, very mature. Yeah. But like, you know, it's more like there's a safety net
Yeah. So also consider the fact that if you can't figure out a larger plot idea, then you're thinking too small. Like read short stories and read longer works, like academically, and see what did they put into the short story. Like, how big was the conflict? How many characters were there? And then go to one of your favorite novels and say, okay, what did they put into this novel? It's going to be much larger and with more characters, unless it's an attempt at something or Jack London, and then it's an outlier. But, you know, you need to think of larger stories. And, you know, at the very least, copy someone's framework, and you know, you don't have to sell everything you write. So when you're practicing writing longer works, take a framework of your favorite book and, you know, scrub out the book's characters and put yours in in the same spaces.
Or you can do it with a fairy tale, do a fairy tale retelling, and voila, it is perfectly legit, and people will applaud you for your retellingness.
Right.
Or old pulp, and then it's pastiche.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Or public domain. It's not fan fiction once it's public domain.
Yeah, then it's pastiche. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that writing long form, the only inherent benefit of it is that you get a lot more money for it.
Yes.
And there's a bigger audience.
Yeah.
If you have an audience for small work, then go for it. There's a author who writes military sci-fi who is self-published, and I love his work, and each book is not a coherent narrative from end to end. They are basically shorts about recurring characters, or you know, what one group in somewhere is doing. And so even though there is sort of an overarching meta plot in terms of what is happening in the universe in the course of this war or whatever, you might get a short story or about you know, a clone over here who is part of a weird cloning system, or you have you know, somebody in a refugee camp, or you have, you know, whoever. And so it is a bunch of shorts stitched together. And I believe they are, in fact, Reddit posts that he collects, and I love them, and he really needs a copy editor. So, Ralph Bloodthorn, if you're listening, I can hook you up with some people.
I was talking about, I can't remember. No, wait, I do remember, because I had an interview right before this recording, and I talked about this there. But doing something smaller based on something larger, you could do like, I did one piece of Baldur's Gate fanfic, Actually, for Cipher of
Was
Tear.
it about the Mind Flayer?
No, it was not about the Mind Flayer. It was about the dog with the bow, Biscotti, hanging out with the Dragonkin clerk at the weaponsmith, who's just so happy. And I thought those two happy people needed to be together and go have a very low stakes adventure while Baldur's Gate's burning around them. And it just made me so happy. And then my next...
sorry, go on.
No, but my next thing is I'm going through and if you've played Skyrim, you know, but I feel like Baldur's Gate has actually surpassed Skyrim as having the most useless shit you can loot. But I want to write a story about like a health inspector whose goal it is to teach people to not store your cheese in a barrel underground. And
I mean, that's not that bad a place to store cheese, actually. Cheese ages in caves and whatnot, and root cellars are a thing.
It's not
a good place to store.
It's not working in Baldur's Gate
because they're all moldy.
All you find is crappy cheese. If it was working, I would say yes, but because underground is where like all the medical cesspools and the Baal worshippers. Can't imagine that place smells good.
Well, no, you don't want to put cheese there, but also, constant temperature once you get down low enough, which is why cheese is often aged in caves. But yes, okay. Yes, a health inspector in Baldur's Gate. The thing is that it occurred to me that we may be conflating big and high stakes, or long and high stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can write a perfectly long story about something very low stakes. And
yes.
I have done it.
Yes.
I wrote a romance where the stakes were that a woman, the entire story can be summed up on woman needs a lawyer to deal with her relatives. It's over 100,000 words, and it's one of my favorite books I've ever written. It's called Sword Heart. There's a romance. There's a soul and a sword. There's a lot of stuff. But it is fundamentally a very low stakes story. The world is not at stake, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Every story does not have to be about the world. Look at Miyazaki movies. Yes, he did the big Princess Mononoke, huge gods battling things. He also did Kiki's Delivery Service, which is basically a young courier deals with burnout at her first job.
Mm-hmm. And My Neighbor Totoro, which is girls take corn to mom who has movie disease.
Yes. And even something like Ponyo, where big things happen, it's basically kid finds a weird goldfish during a flood. And,
I hated Ponyo. I hated Ponyo so much.
It's grown on me. It has grown on me. I was very disappointed at first. I was because I was expecting Spirited Away, and Spirited Away is my favorite movie of all time. But Ponyo, it's good for what it is. It's just we were expecting something different, I think.
A little magical girl floods the world for a crush. Floods the world. Because she has a crush on a 6-year-old.
Wait, was it her that flooded the world?
Yes.
Or was it the... I didn't get the impression she did it deliberately.
No, but still, I mean,
you can't expect a 6-year-old to know that she can flood the world, and she shouldn't. And also, I think she was more like 5. But
I'm really not sure where this argument's going, but
The thing in Ponyo that I have referenced many times in discussions about YA is that there is a scene where there are 2 5 or 6 year olds in a small boat, one of which is a goldfish, and there is a huge natural disaster, and they're puttering along in their boat. They see a boat full of adults, and the adults are like, "Hey, come on board." The kid's like, "No, I gotta keep going. Gotta find mom." And the adults are all like, "Great, have fun." I'm like, every one of you needs a child protective services needs to come have a word with all of you. But yes,
yeah,
I understand there may be cultural differences, and also you have to get the parents out of the way to have an adventure in a story. But still,
yes, you're 10 in early Pokemon games, and your mom gives you like a lunchbox and says, "All right, go travel the world and find dangerous monsters." And we are chatting up during an ad break, and I'm sorry for that.
That's okay. I don't mind.
You're not bothered by the ad.
Oh yeah, that's probably right.
Yes. Yeah, the stakes are not important. Thank you,
Is
kids.
the ad break over?
The ad break is over. The
Okay,
stakes,
sorry about that.
The stakes are not important necessarily, but I'm more talking about like. Well, I guess I'm talking about taking something large and writing something small from it, and the person was talking about writing something larger. But, you know, another safety net for writing is taking something small from something large and writing fanfic about it. And stakes, could matter, might not matter. You could write a very devastating story about, the guy who wants to put explosives in the teddy bears, and he could have a whole short story about him.
I could write a short story if I were so inclined about a cheesemonger who sees the talking wheel of cheese and it is like meeting his god. Mm-hmm. And when it vanishes, he is bereft, and he goes and founds a cult.
You just probably made a lot of money.
No, it'd be fanfic because it was Baldur's Gate. You turn into a cheese.
I'm pretty sure you can file off those numbers.
That's a really specific serial number. I don't know. Well, anyway.
I mean, you're in Dragon Age Inquisition. You can get a sword, or not a sword, obviously. You get the sword with the banana on it, or the shield of cheese.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Think about it, and take me out to sushi when you get your advance.
If I make that much money, I will fly you to New Mexico and we can have sushi.
Ooh, excellent. Do you want sushi in New Mexico? I guess they can fly it in.
Well, we will actually probably be coming back here fairly regularly because Kevin's parents live here.
Yeah.
So yes, and also my oncologist is here, and
Oh well, yeah.
And Kevin's tattoo artist. So.
Yeah, but you're not moving next week, right?
No, this fall.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't bought a house yet or anything. I tried to start packing, and then I realized that I should hire professional packers for this because it took me an hour, and I hadn't unloaded a single Kallax bookcase from. Yeah.
So we've talked about a lot of things. Do you want to touch on Sifwa or wait until Jason Sanford stuff comes out?
Jason Sanford stuff?
Jason Sanford is a fan writer who does a lot of
I know
investigative stuff. Oh, I follow him on Genre Grapevine, and he says he's going to do a full take on what's going on with Sifwa later, and then before that, File 770 posted their take on it, which is what I read last night.
Oh, I've not read any takes. All I heard was that a bunch of people are like, that it was like a perfect storm of people going, I have a lot of shit to deal with right now, and I can't do this.
Yeah. It turns out that someone who worked with Sifwa asked for accessibility considerations and did not get it, and then gave a huge amount of notice. Like I'm leaving, but I'm leaving in quite some time. And then they cut off their email and kicked him out of Discord, and no one really knows what's going on, and more people have quit, and it's just kind of weird. Like, I respect when, you really do need to leave because of your family, but an awful lot of people have left. So it's and there's apparently a lot of NDAs keeping people from talking. So it's like,
that's very weird.
Our professional organization is kind of flailing
imploding
about. Yeah, it's weird.
That's odd. And all I heard was that someone sending a note saying I really got to step down because I'm now a full-time carer for my mom, and then another one going, I also have to step down because my husband just had a medical emergency. And these are legit reasons you have to step down. This is a big deal. It's fine. But apparently there's more. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out more as it happens, I suppose.
Yes. And so yeah, that's not the getting mad thing. That's just the what's happening to my professional organization. We did have a anonymous gift give a subscription, so thank you for that. Enjoy your subscription, K Kimmy. Enjoy your lack of ads.
I just had a gift delivered, actually.
Oh, what'd you get?
Well, there's a sign on it, or a label on it that says this package contains alcohol, adult signature required, and there's a gift message is under shipping label. So I think one of my publishers, probably Tor, sent me wine for winning the thing.
Wow.
They've been really nice about that. Like, I have worked with numerous publishers, and some of them send congratulatory emails. Tor just sends me chocolate and booze.
Wow.
Like, and I'm like, dude, this is pretty sweet. I recommend that highly if you're trying to maintain author loyalty.
Yeah. I don't think Orbit sent me anything when I got nominated for the stuff.
Well, they should have.
I know. Jasmine asks, Ursula, perhaps I missed it. Did the Corgi Thorgy graphic novel ever come out, or was it overcome by events?
It exists. You have to subscribe to Liz Forrest's Patreon, Lizard Beth, and it's all there. This is Bayo Corgi. This is a short story about, it's basically Beowulf with a corgi, and it was illustrated by my good friend Liz, and I wrote the story. It's very charming, and you should go throw money at her and read it. It's because she is a better artist than I will ever be.
Great. I'll put a link to the show notes in the show notes. If anybody can find that.
It's finished now, and we should really figure out if someone wants to publish it. But there's still a lot going on.
Yeah, there has been. I should always remember that I have a book coming out this year. I didn't think I was, but the Ophelia Network was picked up by Ursula's small press friends, and that will be out in novella form this fall. I'm not sure the actual date, but it'll be out soon. So I'm looking forward to that.
And this is networking again. I dragged you to a room party.
That's
with
right.
The guys from Fur Planet and Argyle, and we're like, this is my friend Mer. She writes brilliant stuff.
Aw.
And then we drank and had pizza, and I believe, and one of the editors was like, why just hook it to my veins at you? So
it's taken me a while to actually get something, but yes.
Yeah, I think that party was 5 years ago, but that's fine.
Probably
life is
longer.
Long-term planning.
Yes, Space Valkyrie says, so get a buddy who will drag you into networking. Got it. I did that with you at Discon, Space Valkyries. That's exactly what I did. You were there.
Just be careful who the buddy is, because sometimes they will drag you to meet Joe Hill in a way you don't want them to.
Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? Who can say?
Also, I don't know if you remembered, because you were extremely inebriated, but...
Are we talking about Dublin?
No, yes,
Okay.
Just recently. My book, Thornhedge novella, was nominated for a World Fantasy Award. I'm not going, but Mur is going and agreed to be my acceptor.
that I agreed to.
And you agreed. You suggested it.
Did.
I was
happy for you.
Speech. And you were like, hyena genitals, this time, let's do it. And I was like, I'm not going to hold her to that.
That is exactly what you said. You said, I'm going to hold you to that. I was not that inebriated. I remember.
Well, sobriety comes to us all. I won't hold you to it.
Any funny stories about Worldcon? Well, there was that one.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun doing a sex and love panel with Cypher of Tyr and Samantha Bayart. That was a lot of fun.
I have heard rumors that a woman wearing a great hat told Dave McCarty, the gentleman who fucked the Hugos last year, exactly where he could go and what he could do on the way.
Yep. But no one knows who that is. No one,
No.
like, a lot of people say they witnessed it, but no one knew who the woman with the hat was.
well, two people specifically say they witnessed it that I believe. Plus, there were a lot of people in the restaurant who might have witnessed it and could have said something as well. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yes, but yeah. Apparently, it was a good hat, though.
Yeah, and that was funny. Yeah. Man.
Yes.
Wait, that guy actually showed his face. Yes, he did. I think he has friends still.
He held he was at a hotel right across the parking lot, announcing that, come to this party for such and such for the Chengdu people, and and I did not know he was going to be standing in the lobby when I went for dinner, but I think the hat was there while I was elsewhere.
I do find it interesting that you and I discussed which is worse to step on, a Lego or a four-sided die, and you told me that Lego, just saying I wish you'd step on a Lego, does flow better than like a D4. Oh.
Yes, it's all about the flow,
right? And the woman in the hat did say Lego. I noticed that.
Yes. Well, clearly she agreed with me about flow.
Clearly. Absolutely. Any other fun stories? I'm
drawing a blank because I had a great time there. Yeah. There was a woman doing things where she would hand paint the edges of hardcovers. Things that were, and apparently she had a copy of Metal and Bone, and Kevin went over and was like, I hear you have a copy of Metal and Bone. She said, nope, it's sold. You got to get here a lot sooner. And Kevin was like, that's a shame. I'm T. Kingfisher's husband. And she freaked out. And I went over later and was like, I hear, do you have pictures? And she did, and it was lovely.
Awesome.
So, yes, she was very nice.
That's very cool.
That's honestly, name recognition is the best thing for it is things like that. Your word carries outsized weight, and you can be like, your stuff is great, and people believe you.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, we are like at 4, we've gone over an hour. Is there anything else you would like to discuss or bring up?
I think we have covered probably not that much, but it took us this long, so...
We are out of practice.
We are, yes. Send us questions. We're good with questions.
Yes, send questions to mightymur@gmail.com, or you can show up in the chat on twitch.tv/mightymur and 3 p.m. Eastern Time every other Monday, and we could do it this Monday, and we're out of town next Monday. The following, I don't know how tired you'll be from your grand house hunt in Albuquerque, but...
I don't know if we'll be back by 3. I don't know when we're flying out, actually.
Okay, we're not sure what's going to happen in 2 weeks, but we attempt to get on this schedule. Oh, and thank you for the resub, Jasmine. Been subscribed for 40 months. Wow. Thank you for the support. That's great. I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to try to fit in a solo RPG stream. I have bought more solo RPGs. I really gotta fucking do them. I gotta actually put them on the stream and write them and stuff. So, but yeah, you can find me at murverse.com, Mighty Mur on most social networks, and I have a book. It's called Chaos Terminal. It's the most recent book in the Mid-Solar Murders.
You should read it. They're really fun and good and smart.
Thank you. And Ursula, tell us where you are and what you do.
You can find almost everything at redwombatstudio.com, although it occurs to me I have not updated with the latest book that came out. A book just came out like 2 weeks ago called A Sorceress Comes to Call. It is dark fantasy, which I think now is just what we're calling horror in the secondary world. I'm not really sure what the definition is anymore. But it's fun, and it's out, and I'm on Blue Sky as T. Kingfisher.
Ah, yes, so, you are. You have the double name.
Yes, I am mostly T. Kingfisher,
okay.
And these days. So, yeah, you can find me there.
Awesome. This podcast was produced under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license. Music provided by Devo Spice, devospice.com.
Ditch diggers!
This is a free podcast brought to you by the kindness of our patrons. If you would like to also be kind and a patron, go to patreon.com/mightymur.